Right, here we go. So let me link this. Where's the live? Why don't I have it here? It's working. That's working there. There it is. This. Hello, people. Give me just a second. I'm spreading the link on Facebook quickly so that others can join us. This is there. I just posted it. Where is it? Hope you guys are having a good day, that you're enjoying your Qigong practice wherever you are. This one, go, quick share, group. One, and then just one more, and I'll be right there with you guys. If anyone knows how to prepare this and make things a little faster so that it's done automatically, feel free to send me a message. And I'll be happy to not have to do that while I'm live already on YouTube. There you go. Cool. So let's make sure it works. Here I am. That would be me. Cool. Welcome, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay? Just making sure the sound is good. All right. I hope so. I cannot see anything on YouTube. Let's see. Right. Well, here it goes. So, good day, everyone. Welcome to another Taiji Qigong Shibashi Set 2 live class. I haven't introduced myself in the other video because I'm guessing if you guys are here, you know who I am. But welcome. Glad to see you being here. Sound good. Thank you. So we'll continue with movement number 4, searching for the needle at the bottom of the sea. If you haven't seen the first 3 movements, I have 2 other videos that are on the same playlist that I'll post on my different social media, so you'll get to look at them and go back. I'm teaching these class with just doing a little disclaimer here with the assumption that you have already a little bit of knowledge of Qigong. If you don't, I'll post a link. Sorry, I'll post a link in the description of those videos so you can get my Qigong introduction video series to give you a bit of an idea of the main element that I'll be talking about and that you want to follow. And if you guys are interested in going deeper in your Qigong knowledge, whether it's through Shibashi or Zanzuan or other kind of approach, I also offer free, not free, but online classes, private classes, and some free content through the different YouTube channel that I have. So if you have questions, also don't forget to write them down and let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. Good. So, searching for the needle at the bottom of the sea. In this movement, we have mostly a downward movement of the chi, pushing the chi or guiding the chi through the body, through the leg, down into the ground, before we come back to center to reabsorb and create a bit kind of a loop that goes through the body down to the earth, grasping fresh chi, passing through us, sending it down, and gradually kind of washing ourselves off with the fresh chi that goes through us. So, as always, before we begin, feet parallel, about shoulder or hip width apart to feel comfortable with the knee slightly bent. Lower back stretch and open. You can achieve that by verifying through your abdominal breathing, making sure that the abdominal wall in the front has a nice tonicity to it. You don't want to let it completely go and then nothing happen. But you want to use that elasticity so that the pressure the diaphragm is creating will be pushed down towards the perineum, and then get that elasticity from the perineum as well, going back, pulling down the coccyx and the sacrum, and then sending that pressure towards the spine where the lumbar spine start to reduce itself and open up Migmen. So first, simply feeling the body, feeling the breath. Relaxing a little deeper on the exhale, gently inhaling through the nose and exhaling softly through the mouth, letting the mind calm itself a little more. A very soft exhale, like if you had a candle and you didn't want it to flicker. So very, very soft, that would barely move the flame on the candle. Inhaling through the nose, gently exhaling through the mouth. From the abdominal breathing, we then add the thoracic breathing. For it to happen, we want first to make sure the diaphragm pushes and fill up, creating more pressure into the lower abdomen. And as the diaphragm moves down, it creates less pressure around the lungs, which allow the suction effect to pull the air in. Once the diaphragm reaches its lowest point, then we have the shoulder blades sinking and the opening of the ribs, creating more space around the lungs so that we can inhale more. And in order to help for that movement to happen, as our arms will be lifting, we want to feel the shoulder blades sinking a little bit like a counterweight. So as my arm here is going up, my shoulder blade in the back are going down, lower and lower, and gently coming closer to the spine so that I stretch the serratus muscle. Once the shoulder blade is down, then I can really use the serrated muscle to pull open the ribs in combination with a few other muscles in the back that open up the rib cage. And then once the rib cage is nice and open, the intercostal muscle can pull it up just to get the maximum range of it. So as my arms are coming up, first inhaling, filling up the abdomen, sinking the shoulder blade and pulling, opening the rib cage, which will have an effect of pulling my hands closer to my body. Allowing the shoulder to remain relaxed. I don't want to lift from the trapezius, but as I said, the scapula, the shoulder blade are going down, being pulled by the lower trapezius, the middle trapezius, and the rhomboid. And this allows me to have a nice open area on the top of the shoulder, which we call the shoulder well, the space between the upper trapezius, the tip of the shoulder articulation itself, and the clavicle in the front. By opening this area with the inhale, I'll be then able to shift my weight completely on one side and lift my other leg. And then as I exhale, I'll be pushing down through the body, sinking on my weighted leg, my other leg always being empty, pushing through the leg down towards the foot, into the ground, and imagine like a current or a water flow going down into the ground and going far, far away. As I'm letting it go, coming back to the center, inhaling, filling up first the abdomen, then the thoracic area, shifting weight on the other side, exhaling as I'm pushing gently through the body, through the leg, down the foot at the tip of the toe, touching the ground, and further out. Inhaling, exhale. Inhaling, shifting weight, lifting the foot, and then just letting the big toe touch the ground as I exhale and let the chi flow downward towards the foot into the ground. Inhaling, shifting weight, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Once I push, here I want to release and relax my hand, letting the sensation go far, far away into the ground, so that when I come back, I can inhale the fresh air, the fresh chi at the same time, filling up. And then as I start my exhale, my fingers will point downward, the same as my big toe touches the ground. And you'll notice that the elbows start to squeeze a little bit, almost like a pastry tube that I want to squeeze the cream out of it downward. So from here, as I finish my inhale, everything is open and full. And then as I touch the ground, I just relax, let the ribs gently collapse, let the abdomen come back inward, let the elbow kind of squeeze down. My hands are pushing down as well towards the leg, kind of focusing everything down here towards the big toe and into the ground. And then letting it go. Coming back to the front, inhaling. On the other side, exhale. One more each side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And just relaxing a little bit the legs so we don't get them too tired all at once. So, since we start feet parallel, when I'll be shifting all of my weight to one side, my hips will naturally turn more or less 45 so that I can easily let my empty leg extend and touch the ground in front. Important aspect here is to make sure, let's see if I can pull this up. Yeah, to make sure that the knee remains aligned with your toes and not have the arch of the foot collapse and bring your knee inward as you're here, because it would put too much pressure on the inside part of the knee. So as I'm here standing in the middle, start to shift my weight. I make sure that my knee remains aligned with my foot, and I gently rotate the hips so I can sit on my legs without too much effort. How low you'll be able to go as you push the chi down will depend on your leg strength. So if your legs are a little more weak, that you have difficulty going down, remain higher. As you come here, you can have the knee just slightly bent to remain. And then when you'll be pushing, you'll be just keeping weight on the back leg and just try to get your hand about knee height. And then you just let go to make sure that the chi passes the barrier of the knee as we're pushing it down. This way, it's a little bit easier. You can have your foot a little closer. What you want to make sure is that you don't transfer your weight on the front leg. The front leg should or the extended leg should always be free and empty. It's almost like a straw. If there's no pressure on it, then the chi can circulate more easily. Up. Same thing as I'm here. I don't want to bring my head too far. If I do that, I can't lift really my foot anymore because there's too much weight on the front leg. So I really want to keep my weight at the center of my foot, not inward, not outward, and not too much on the toes or not too much on the heel. As I'm sitting here, I'll try to maintain the straightness of my spine, not maintaining the spine vertical, but maintaining it um, even though it's a little bit at an angle, not bending my back. So I don't want to roll my back as I'm going here, because then I'm losing the connection with the sky. So as I'm here, inhale, shifting the weight, sitting onto my leg, allowing that gentle pressure of the chi pushing it down the leg, up, out, maintaining my spine straight, not being too far forward, and maintaining my knee in place as I push it out. Same thing here. So when I inhale, I come back to the center. Inhale, pull in the chi. Shift the weight at the end. Exhale, compressing it through the torso, down the lower abdomen, down the leg, and out. Come back to the center. Inhale. Other side. Exhale. So on the inhale, start with the abdominal breathing, start to feel the opening of the chest, and you want to pay attention particularly to the throat and upper shoulder area. And the more you inhale, the more you want to feel this part kind of opening. It's almost like if your throat was becoming, or your neck was becoming wider and wider, creating a nice opening for the chi from the sky and the environment that you're pulling in. Bringing the fingers together for pointing down, pushing and feeling a bit the palm, the roundness of the palm here, helping to squeeze and push the chi down from the shoulders towards the leg, towards the hip, and down into the leg in the ground. Once I'm here, I relax my finger, and it's almost like if I'm pulling my hand out of water and trying to let the water come out of my hand as much as possible, to be very relaxed, to let the water drip and not push and then pull the chi back with my hand. So I'm pushing it down, letting it go, releasing, up, coming back to front so I can inhale the fresh air that's all around, feel the opening here, and then push through the body, gently squeezing it down without effort through the legs, through the foot, into the ground. One more. So this sensation here, very useful when you have a bit of a sore throat, a bit of inflammation in the area, to kind of take it down and drain it, particularly if it's from wind, cold, damp from outside, because we're opening the shoulder well and we allow the yang channel that passes through to bring the chi downward and exit through the foot into the ground. So it helps us to feel that openness, allows gradually to have that openness of the cranium, allowing the cerebral spinal fluid to kind of be able to move through the neck, allowing the lymph nodes as well from the neck to open up, and then to just squeeze and let everything come down through the foot into the ground. And I don't need to keep that up anymore. Good. So do you guys have any question on that movement? I'll give you a minute to write them down, and if not, we'll move to the next one, Fisherman casting its nest. Net, not nest. Let's see. No question, apparently. All right, let's continue. So, fisherman casting its net. Wait. Yes, Peter, literally just the big toe on the ground. We want to keep the leg and the foot suspended and as light as possible so that we can allow that connection with the ground. It basically becomes a little bit like a grounding rod. Since I'm inhaling and pulling all the chi up, there's a stronger concentration, lifting the foot. And the moment I touch my big toe on the ground, that's kind of the connection, the grounding point that pulls everything down in that direction. If I put my whole foot, there's a bit more happening between the different movements. And also, if I have my whole foot, I'll have more of a tendency to come and put my weight on it. If I only have my big toe, I'm less inclined to try to bring my weight forward. So it helps me to keep the weight on the back leg as well. Good. So fisherman casting its net. Like we've seen, I believe last week, this one functions specifically with the rotation of the waist. So we want to make sure that the hips remain forward. And to help us with that in this particular movement, we'll have to bend the knees a little more to make sure our hips are stable and that when we start the rotation, it's only the upper torso that will be turning through the waist. To make a test, if your legs are straight and you try to turn, you'll feel that the whole pelvic bowl is actually moving. You'll feel a little bit of torsion happening through the legs. And then here, if you place the tip of your palm on the lower ribs, and then the tip of your finger on the iliac crest, on the upper part of the pelvic bowl, and you move in this way, moving everything, you'll notice that your fingers remain vertical, that everything is moving together. But here, if I go on and bend my knees, sitting onto my leg, you'll feel that the hip becomes a lot more stable. And if you try to turn, you'll start to feel much more the rotation through the waist, and you'll notice that the upper part of your palm will be shifting from one side to the other. And so instead of remaining vertical, your finger will kind of move one way and the other. So this is what we need in order to do this movement completely and correctly. As I mentioned last time, this rotation around the waist will help us to stimulate first the kidneys for the lumbar rotation, and then the spleen and the liver as we start to turn a little further out. Because of the shoulder position, with the palm that will be facing outward, it will also unlock the shoulder rotation of the upper torso and will allow us to turn more or less towards the 45 behind us. In order to feel these different rotation, um, if I place my arm or my elbow close to the ribs and then start to turn just from the waist, I'll be able to get just a small rotation. So making sure the knees are bent, locking the hips forward, and then rotating just from the waist. The rotation will be somewhat limited. If I do this and then I relax a little more the elbow, go here and I allow the torso or the rib cage to rotate a little bit more, I'll be able to reach almost the 90-degree depending on how much rotation I'll have up here. And just to make this test, we'll do briefly the cloud hands movement that we have in set 1 of Taiji Qigong Shibashi. So I, at looking just above the index finger, the thumb pointing up, shoulder relaxed, elbow open, kind of embracing a big ball at nose level, more or less. Other hand at waist. So if I turn all the way to the side, then I reach the limit of that rotation, and I feel that I can't really go any further without creating a lot of tension. But here, if I turn my palm up, feel how that rotate through the shoulders, it unlocked the upper part, and then I have, oh, the upper part of the torso feels that it can kind of push a little further out. So if I'm here and my palm is down, I reach and I don't really feel comfortable turning any more than this. And then I turn the palm up, and all of a sudden I feel I just freed the upper chest, the last two ribs, and then I gain a little bit more of rotation towards the back. So for the movement that we're doing now, we want our palm to be the back of the palm roughly at the height of our forehead, so that our eyes can look through the tiger's mouth between the index finger and the thumb pointing downward. I want to make sure that my shoulder is not lifted, but relax. And then again, that sinking of the shoulder blade in the back is what allows me to have that roundness. If my shoulder is here, you'll feel that the elbow is not very strong and has a tendency to kind of close in and not be very comfortable. But if I let the shoulder blade sink more and more and more and more, all of a sudden I feel it creates a stretch through my arm, through my hand, where I feel that here I have a lot of strength without forcing. Lower hand at belly button height, just a little lower, and then making sure that we're sitting on the legs, maintaining the hips forward, and then rotating from the waist as we go across, and gently feeling the rotation from the lumbar, then the thoracic, then the upper thoracic, and then letting the upper hand come down as the lower hand rises, making sure we don't rise the shoulder but keep the shoulder low. And then rotating the waist, keeping the hips forward as we're turning onto the other side. Gently shifting the upper hand down while the other ones start to rise. Rotating, keeping the hips forward. Rotating from the lumbar, the middle of the thoracic, the upper thoracic. And gently changing. Up. So here, inhaling as we turn towards the left. Exhaling as we turn towards the right. Inhale. Exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. Imagine being a fisherman that is about to throw a net into the water. So you want to have that expanding sensation all around you. We're basically stretching the net of the weight chi that we have all around us. So if my hands are too weak or too close and I'm just more or less towards myself, the feeling, even as you watch it, doesn't have the same thing. I'm just kind of gliding in the air around me, but I'm not throwing anything. Whereas if I get the expression of the chi, feeling that strength pushing outward, then the sensation becomes very different. And then coming back to center. So again, for this one, make sure that your knees are bent enough that it helps maintain your hips mostly forward through the rotation. There's always a little bit of movement, but very little. We don't want to come here with specifically here, making sure that the knee also doesn't collapse inward. That will usually happen if you're not seated enough and that your hips are moving. So you want to make sure that you're sitting properly. And be aware of how well the rotation of your torso can be done without creating force or strain. If, as you're turning, you start to feel here that you have to force and it creates tension and everything, don't go too far. Make it a little smaller at first. Gradually, by respecting the limits that your body is giving you, and by repeating the kind of movement that you want your body to be able to do, you'll be able to go further. If you constantly try to overpass the limit that your body is telling you, your body is going to start to constrict even further and prevent you to even do what you should normally be able to do to avoid you overdoing it and hurting yourself. Our body has a lot of preventive mechanism from our own mental stupidity. And yes, I'm also referring about myself. I over pushed some movement sometime and felt too much contraction until I really learned to relax and to allow the body to be as soft as possible. And the more you practice softly, the more your body will let you go further and will actually triggers repairing mechanism that were blocked before because you weren't doing the movement the way you should. Whenever we have a certain kind of injury that starts to happen in our body, our tendency to stop moving at first, which is normal to avoid pulling and creating more tear to that specific injured area so that the body can heal. The problems that often we remain in that preventive area without really knowing how to regain the flexibility we had before. So by respecting how far the body allows us to go, but by constantly going back to that movement and telling the body, I want to be able to do this, then the body will start to send more healing to really finish the process so that we can do that movement and even go further. To explain it very simply, it's the same principle when you start to go to the gym and you start to do first lightweight, and then you can gradually use heavier and heavier weight because the repeated motion sends signal to your muscle to grow and develop more. Except that here we don't use weight, we simply use the motion that we want to do without forcing, because if we force too much, then everything starts to block and then the body doesn't allow us to do it. So relaxation will give us much more effect in the long term than trying to force everything, which will actually prevent and make us regress even more. Good. Let's see. Any question on that specific movement at the moment? Right. Here. The arm is rising. Is the pivot around radial? Ulnar expansion. So let's see. Reading Peter's question here. As the arm is rising, is the pivot around the radial or the ulnar feeling of expanding outward? It's more on the radius side. So as you go around here, you'll have it's not really either actually. It's a bit of both. Um, from the rotation, you'll have the sinking of the shoulder blade, which will bring it a little more forward. You'll have the Tai Yang that really stretch out to connect with the back, and the Yang Ming that also stretch. So you kind of have both happening here. The one thing you want to be sure about is that you're not turning your hands, but you're really feeling here as the shoulder blades sink, bringing the humerus to kind of open and then getting that double spiral from the forearm, which rotates on the opposite side to get that push outward. So it's a little bit more technical for most people. If you're not familiar with anatomy, don't worry about it. Peter is an acupuncture student and been practicing for a number of years internal arts, so he has these a bit more advanced questions, which is very good. So as you have that rotation, you want to get the expression. And I would say you want to specifically feel Neguan to open to get that nest, the net, the Weiqi net that's all around us to really open and stretch. You also have spleen 21 that open the net of the rib cage. So we have this connection of the expansion of the Weiqi all the way around from the side out, and here that rotation that pushes it outward. Did I answer your question? Let's see. It seems there's a bit of delay between when I'm talking and what I can see on the screen, so I'll be waiting just a few more seconds to see. Yes, all right, cool. So now since we've seen the first five movement now of the form, let's start over again from the beginning so we can tie them up together. Feet parallel, knees slightly bent, gently sitting on our legs, adjusting the pelvis bowl so that we can feel that it's vertical and allow the push of the diaphragm on the organ to really fill up all the way down into the lower basin. Feeling the opening of the sacroiliac joint, the movement of the coccyx and sacrum rippling through the spine, going all the way up to the top of the head. And exhaling, relaxing even deeper while maintaining structural integrity. Feeling as we inhale the connectivity of the feet with the ground, pulling the chi through the yin channel, going in, filling up all the organs, all the way up to the top of the head and to the tip of the finger. And as we exhale, feeling the yang from the sky coming down from the head, through the body, into the feet, into the ground. Gently turning the palm back. And as we inhale, feeling that rising sensation, lifting our hands all the way above the head, palm turning up. And exhale as our arms are coming down through the body, through the ground. Up, palm turn back, inhale, rising. Gently rotating from the shoulder to the fingertips and then out and down. Inhale up. Imagine you're on top of a mountain looking far, far away into the horizon. One more. Inhaling up. Exhale. As we exhale, we let our palm come together. Finger points towards the ground. Inhale as we pull the hands up, rotating and moving all the way to the middle of the forehead. And exhale as we come down. Inhaling up, keeping the shoulder relaxed. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more. Inhale up. Exhale. Arms are opening, shifting the weight on the right leg. Inhale, Put the heel of the left leg forward. Exhale, moving forward, rising the arms till eye level. Inhale, moving the weight back. Exhale, forward. Inhale, bring the feet parallel. Feel the chi bubble filling up. Take a step forward, exhale, keeping the momentum. Inhale as we move back. Exhale, forward. Inhale. And the last exhale will be a bit longer. Exhale as we move forward, bringing the hands back together, feet parallel. Lifting the arms, inhaling as we pull the chi towards the neck and upper shoulder. Exhale as we push it down through the legs, through the big toe into the ground and releasing it. Inhale, pulling it in. Shift, exhale, pushing it down. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more each side. Inhale, exhale. Diving at the bottom of the sea, watching the corals, the beautiful fish, all the beautiful life. Exhale. Feet parallel, palm turning out. Fisherman cast its net. Inhale as you rotate towards the left. Exhale as you rotate to your right. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And one more. Inhale. Exhale. Hands coming back down to the side. Enjoying the sensation. Gently rubbing the palm together. Good. So if you guys have any question, we still have a few minutes, so let's hear it out. We can chit chat a little bit, and if not, then I'll just finish the class. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming and watching. It's a pleasure to share Taiji Qigong Shibashi Set 2 with you all. If you don't already do it, well, you can follow me on Facebook profile, facebook.com/Qigong18, or is it 18 Qigong on Facebook? One of the two, because no, I think it's 18 Qigong because somebody had already taken Qigong 18. But anyway, you can find me out there. YouTube, of course, if you haven't sign up and subscribe, make sure you subscribe and click the little bell so you get all the notification directly when I start those live. And yeah, I see there's a few questions coming up, so let's hear them. Thank you, thank you. How many times would you recommend going through all of the movements? Hi, Olivia. Usually for a personal practice, you would do 6 to 8 repetition. That's kind of on a daily practice maintenance type of layer. If you wanted to use them for, since you're an acupuncturist, if you wanted to use them specifically either for yourself or for a client because of the chi movement that they create in a therapeutic perspective, you would do somewhere between 12 to 100 repetition. That would be throughout the day, wouldn't necessarily have to be all together. But for general maintenance, 6 to 8 is good. Of course, as we're practicing them and learning them, we need to do a little bit more also so we can start to feel how it connects through our body and how it functions. So general practice, 6 to 8, and it's quite open after that. Just don't overdo it. One aspect of Qigong, when you finish, you should feel relaxed and energized. If you feel drained and tired, you did a little too much for yourself. So always be conscious of your own state. These guidelines, of course, are always very general and need to be adapted for each individual. Good. All right, then. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. If you have any more questions, feel free to write them down on Facebook. I'm there a lot more, or you can write them down here in the comment as well under the video, and I'll be happy to reply to you. Thank you, guys. Have a beautiful day. For that, you, Olivia, for your question about the effect of the movement, send me a PM on Facebook and I'll chat to you because something that needs to be discussed a little more in deep than the time we have here right now. All right. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure seeing you, and I'll see you on um, Wednesday. I might be busy at the clinic, so I'll have to come back to you. Check out the Facebook page to know if it's Wednesday or just Friday this week again for the second class. Take care, guys. See you. Bye bye.